Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on the channel, and in today's video we will be going through my preliminary final tips and predictions for 2021. Now obviously the semi-finals just passed, we had just one thrilling game out of the two. So yeah, today we'll be going through my semi-finals tips to see how I did last week in the tipping. There was only 2 games last week. There's only 2 games this week. It'll probably be a little bit shorter than usual. I'll try and expand it out to hopefully pass or hopefully minimum 10-minute mark. So we'll start off going through my semi-finals tips to see how I did last week. Then we'll go through my prelim finals tips and we'll see who I tipped and we'll see how I tipped last week. So last week, obviously, there were only 2 games of the round and I got 1 out of 2 tips correct. Not very surprising. But a lot of people, I feel like, could have got 0 out of 2, but I feel like 1 out of 2 is probably the highest, or well, not the highest, probably around the average of what people have got this week. So starting off, it was Geelong and GWS. I tipped GWS to win it by 25 points, and they got absolutely demolished, and the Geelong Cats just ended their season just like that. I tipped the Giants to win it by 25. That was very, very far off. Do not know what I was thinking with that tip. I was 60 points off, and I'm going to be honest with this game. I can't give too much detail here and there, pretty much just because I turned on the game basically for the first 2 minutes of the game, and I didn't watch anything since. I watched the first 2 minutes. I turned it on when I think it was Jordan Clark, was it, that missed it from the square? I turned it on for about 30 seconds there, watched him miss it from the square, turned it back off. So all in total, I probably watched, I'd say, only about 3 or 4 minutes of the actual game. So I can't give much background into this, but as soon as it turned into a crap game, I didn't really regret not watching basically any of it. So first one incorrect, which was GWS Geelong. Tipped the Giants. That was a shocking tip. And Geelong progress into a prelim final. Then at the Gabba 7:20, it was Brisbane and the Dogs. And oh my god, basically was all I have to say. Brisbane just losing it by a point. There were so many opportunities. For both sides, to be honest. And I'm pretty sure it was 72-72 at one stage. Bailey Smith kicked the goal, ice in his veins, and then I'm pretty sure Zach Bailey kicked a quick response to reply to Bailey Smith's goal. Then it was all equal at 78-78, and then within the last minute and 4 seconds, I think it was, I'm not 100% sure who tumbled it into the points for the Bulldogs. He got tackled by 2 people, but that was basically the game-winning point. I'm not sure who it was, however, after that happened, Daniel Rich just went straight down the line, and within about 15 seconds, or not even, within about like 10 to 15 seconds of that kick out, there was already a throw-in in the Lions 50. So it was a very strange game, but the Lions just fell short, and the Dogs, wowee, imagine, like, they're coming into finals with such bad form over the previous few weeks. Obviously, I think in round 19 they lost, round 20 they lost, round 21 they lost, round 23 they lost. And some of those losses were just absolutely despicable. Like against Hawthorn at UTAS, that was shocking. They got just run over by Essendon, I think it was in round 23 or round 21. But then they came into the first week of finals. Probably, I think they were still favourites to beat the Bombers down at UTAS. And they ended up flogging that. And I was definitely not 100% sure tipping the Dogs last week because, tipping the Dogs in the first week of finals because I wasn't 100% sure with the previous form they've been in if they would be good enough to beat the Bombers in the first week of finals, but they got it done. They got it done very comfortably. And for them to travel from Tassie all the way up to Queensland to then beat Brisbane at home, at Brisbane's home, and Brisbane once again going out in straight sets, their finals record under Chris Fagan is 1-5, and that 1 out of 5 was one they won last year in the qualifying final against Richmond at the Gabba. And I'm pretty sure there's a few stats in there. I think it's like the past 6 losses at the Gabba for Brisbane, 4 of them have been finals, something like that. So in the home and away season, they basically just took away a top 4 spot from the Bulldogs, and then they basically just gave it up because the Dogs could have had a really handy top 4 finish. But no, the Lions stole it in round 23 and then just put it in the bin. They really didn't use anything. They should have just got knocked out first round. Lions, so boring. Such a boring team to watch in finals. Getting knocked out in straight sets once again this year. Definitely not have the best finals record, but we'll move on to the prelim finals tips and predictions now. Now, obviously, there's only 2 games this week, so I'm pretty sure it'll be a little bit shorter than usual. I'll try and extend it out. There's going to be 2 ripping games, and this is going to be so hard to tip. I saw a UCAT's tipping video, and I've been thinking throughout the week, how the hell am I going to tip these? Because this is determining who's making it into the grand final, so it is such a big tip. This tip could even be bigger than the grand final. Yeah, because there's 2 games, there's 4 teams, and they're the 4 best teams in the bloody league. How are you supposed to pick? Yeah, they'll go through, but they're going to miss out. But no, they're going to go through. It's so hard, so we'll get into it. And yeah, let's get started. So first game is Friday night footy, 7:50 p.m. My time, EST time. And I'm pretty sure it is 5:50 bounce down at Optus Stadium. It is the D's and the Cats, and this is a lot more one-sided than I thought it would have been. Now, obviously, in round 23, Maxi Gawn won after the siren against the Cats at GMHBA to make them the minor premiers. And now the D's have $1.45 to win this. The Cats have $2.80 to win this. The D's finished first on the table. Geelong finished third. And now this is kind of a part that shocks me. Melbourne have 83% of people tipping them for this week, and Geelong only have 17. And I thought surely Geelong would have been a bit higher because Geelong play, I'm going to say this, Geelong play a better brand of footy than Melbourne at Optus Stadium. We haven't seen Melbourne play at Optus, I don't think since the Lightning occurred, I think against West Coast, and they did win there, but West Coast was in shocking form back then. So this is such a hard game to tip. The D's $1.45. Everyone are backing in the D's, but this is where it gets interesting, because if you tip Geelong, then the D's are out. And if you tip the D's, Geelong are out. It's so hard to get your head around. And I'm gonna say this: whatever team I tip, obviously the other team has probably a higher chance of winning than the team that I pick. It's just so hard to think about. I feel like Geelong can win it, but Geelong also just have brain fades every now and then. And obviously, Melbourne's last game was against Brisbane at Adelaide Oval. Geelong lost their first final game this year against Port Adelaide. They got dominated against Port Adelaide at Adelaide Oval. So they've had to play the first 2 weeks of finals, and the D's have had a week off. So I don't know, this one's so hard because the D's have had a week off, they've had a break, they've had a rest, they're ready to come out firing. But the Cats, they're ready to come out firing as well because they play better footy at Optus Stadium. But then again, they did only play the Giants, and the Giants, let's be honest, the Giants can drop off form very, very quickly. I would tip Melbourne, but just seeing Geelong go out like that is just, it just shakes my head around. So I'm going to tip Melbourne to go into a grand final, and now I have to select the margin. It's hard enough just tipping what team will win. I'm going to tip the D's to win it. I reckon they could get it done comfortably because Geelong sometimes do have some brain fades every now and then in the home and away season and in the finals. Now, also, I tipped GWS last week by 25 points against Geelong. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it'll be a good game. I'm going to tip the D's to win it by 9 points at Friday night footy. Moving on, Saturday night, last game of the prelim finals for this year, 7:40 p.m, Adelaide Oval. Port Adelaide taking on the Western Bulldogs. This is huge. This is actually huge. Port finished second. The Dogs finished fifth. Port Adelaide have 77% of people tipping them to win this game, and the Dogs only have 23% of people tipping them to win this game. Port have $1.42 for the odds, and the Dogs have $2.90 as the odds. So Port clear favourites going into this match, and it's so hard to pick because it's just going to be weird seeing a Melbourne Port grand final. But I feel like Port will win, and for some reason I feel like they'll go through to the granny, and then maybe just have a brain fade as well, and then maybe lose. But this is going to all come down to the Melbourne-Geelong game. If Melbourne play good at Optus Stadium, then they'll probably beat Port Adelaide, because I don't think Port Adelaide, they're average at Optus Stadium, but if Melbourne come out firing and prove that they can play good footy at Optus Stadium, then I reckon they're flag favourites. But Port Adelaide, but Geelong are also so good at finals. At finals footy at Optus. I've already tipped Melbourne. I'm going to lock that one in. Here, I don't know, because I'm going to tip Port Adelaide. See, the Dogs have travelled. They've travelled 2 weeks in a row. They're so unlucky to finish outside the top 4 for this year. And they've got 2 wins on the trot already in finals, which is pretty bloody damn impressive. Going up to Queensland, beating the Lions at their home deck. Very impressive. I'm going to tip Port Adelaide, though, with the home advantage at Adelaide Oval. Obviously, actually, earlier in the year, the Dogs did beat Port at Adelaide Oval. No one was really expecting that either. But I feel like Port can either choke, have a brain fade, or the Dogs can just get absolutely annihilated. Oh, it's such a hard one to pick. I'm going to pick Port Adelaide for a safe bet. No, I'm not. I'm tipping the Dogs. I'm tipping the Dogs. I'm tipping a D's v Dogs grand final. Absolutely anything can happen this final series. But there we go. I've tipped the D's to win it by 9, and I'll tip a margin for the Dogs Port game. I feel like this is going to just go to crap, and I feel like the Dogs will probably just get flogged, knowing my tips. But I'm going to tip the Dogs to win it by 5 points in another thrilling final finish for the Dogs. If you did enjoy the tipping for today, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in my next video.